Good morning, students. Today, let's see the second part of our chapter, Reproduction in Animals. First, let's discuss how the development of embryo takes place in hen. After the internal fertilization that takes place inside the body of the hen, the fertilized egg or zygote divides repeatedly to form embryo which travel down the oviduct. I hope you remember fertilized egg or zygote is formed when the male gamete, that is sperm or spermatozoa, fuses with the female gamete, that is ovum or unfertilized egg. They, after fusion, forms the zygote, which is also a single cell structure. It divides repeatedly to form embryo as it is traveling down the oviduct, and as it travels down the oviduct, it also develops many protective layers around itself. The hard shell, the hard white shell that we see in a hen's egg is the outermost protective layer. After the hard eggshell is formed around the developing embryo, the hen finally lays the egg. That means the egg comes out from the body of the hen. Then the hen sits on the eggs to provide sufficient warmth to the egg for the development of embryo into the chicks. The embryo takes about 3 weeks to develop into a complete chick. The chick develops inside the hen's egg during this period. After the chick is completely developed, the eggshell breaks open automatically and the chicks come out of it. So here you can compare with the humans and see that both in humans as well as hen, internal fertilization takes place, but after the fertilization, the development of embryo in humans also takes place inside the female's body, whereas in the case of hen, the development of the embryo into a complete being takes place outside the body of the mother or outside the body of the female. Oviparous and viviparous animals. Here you see, you can relate the term ovi as the egg is also known as ovum, singular, or in plural as ova. Ovi is related to eggs. So oviparous animals are those animals who lay eggs. For example, hen, duck, platypus, etc. Platypus is actually a mammal, but it lays egg. This is the picture of platypus. The animals which give birth to young ones are called viviparous animals, such as cow, humans, cat, lions, etc. So when you will compare oviparous animals and viviparous animals, oviparous lay eggs, viviparous directly give birth to young ones. In oviparous, when the egg comes out of the mother's body, it is still an embryo, and development of embryo to the young one takes place outside the female's body. Whereas in viviparous, the development from embryo to the young one takes place inside the female's body. But you have to remember, in oviparous as well as viviparous, both cases internal fertilization take place. In oviparous, for example, when we take fish and frogs, external fertilization may also take place, but in case of viviparous, only internal fertilization is possible. So these are some comparison between oviparous animals as well as viviparous animals. Now let's see the process of metamorphosis. What is metamorphosis? The transformation of the larva into an adult through drastic changes is called metamorphosis. It can be seen in frogs, silkworm, butterfly, mosquito, etc. in ant and bees also you can see the process of metamorphosis. So what happens in this process? You will see that from egg the young one is born, but the young one is completely different in appearance as well as various processes when it is compared to its adult. So you will never be able to believe that they are actually same organism. When an organism born which is completely different in various aspects compared to the adult of its species, and the process through which they undergo various changes to become the adult is called metamorphosis. Here you should remember that humans, cats, dogs, etc. do not undergo metamorphosis. You see, when a human baby is born, it may be smaller in size, it may have smaller hands, smaller body, smaller head, but nonetheless when you will compare with adult, both the young one as well as adult will have 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 1 tongue, then 1 nose. So when you will compare the physical aspects, they will have same structures in them. Then the processes taking place in their body like respiration with the help of lungs, circulatory system with the help of heart and blood vessels, all these processes will also be same in a very young born or new baby as well as in the adult. But in the case of organisms that undergo metamorphosis, they will have different processes. So here let's take an example of frog and let me explain to you. When the adult lays the egg divides. One single egg will start dividing and form embryo. This embryo are mostly attached to water plants and tadpoles comes out from these eggs. Slowly these tadpoles will start developing gills. Here you can see the young one have gills, but when you will compare it with the adult frog do not have gills. For respiration they do it through their skin or lungs, but in the case of the young one, that is the tadpole, which is called, this form is called larva, they perform respiration through gills. Then slowly it develops a tail, and as the time goes by it starts developing its legs. Then the tail starts to become smaller, and this stage are called froglets. Slowly the tail will disappear and a young frog will come out. It will again grow in size and become the adult frog. Here you compare. This is the larva, the young stage, whereas this is the frog, the adult stage. You can see drastic changes appearing as it goes through the process of metamorphosis. And when you will compare, a tadpole lives in water, whereas a frog is an amphibian. That means it lives both on land as well as in water. So when a young one goes through, which is completely different from the adult, goes through very drastic changes to become the adult, this process is called metamorphosis. Same process you can see, that means formation of larva, then undergoing various changes to become the adult. This same process can be seen in the case of silkworm, butterfly, mosquito, ants, bees, etc. So let's see a video, and with the help of this video, let's try to understand it in a better way. Here you see, first a female frog will lay the eggs as frogs undergo external fertilization in nearby a water source. Then the male will come and fertilize it. Sometimes due to various changes, many of the eggs are run away with the water, with the wind, etc. Therefore, the female lays egg in thousands or hundreds of number, but only few can survive. Here you see these eggs are clustered together with the help of a layer of jelly, which keep them together and provides them protection, so that even with the heavy rain or with the heavy water flow or wind, they do not get scattered. Then this whole mass of fertilized egg in the jelly is called a spawn. Here you have to remember that after the female laid the egg, the eggs were unfertilized, but the male frog came and released the sperm there, and it got fertilized outside the frog's body. So it is called external fertilization. Then they are clustered together with the help of a layer of jelly which protects the eggs, and this whole mass of fertilized egg is now called as spawn. Under the spawn, after a few days, the tadpole hatches out of the egg. So when the tadpole hatches out of the egg, it feeds on the yolk of the egg from which it hatches, and it continues to live its life in the water. After a few days, you can see the external gills appear through which the tadpole respires. It absorbs the oxygen dissolved in water. Then we can also see that the tail of the tadpole starts elongating. Slowly, the fins develop. Then after a few weeks, the external gills starts to disappear. Then the tadpole slowly starts to develop hind legs. Hind limbs are the limbs which are on the back side. For us, our legs will be the hind limb. Then after a few days, the tadpole develops into a froglet. When it starts developing structures of frog, like it starts resembling an adult, it will be called a froglet, and then slowly it starts developing its forelimbs, then develops lungs for breathing. In the final stage, the tail becomes shorter and finally disappears, and now it has become a frog. I hope that you have understood it clearly. So this is called the process of metamorphosis, where the egg develops into tadpoles. Tadpole slowly undergoes various changes. It starts developing its gills, then fins, then hind legs. Hind legs are the legs which are behind or backwards. Then it leaves from the food stored in the tail, then it develops its forelegs. These stages are called froglet, where the tadpole starts resembling the adult. Then slowly, after development of both of its hind legs and the forelimbs, its tail starts becoming shorter and ultimately disappears, and it has now become an adult. Next topic is asexual reproduction in animals. Asexual reproduction is that type of reproduction in which only one parent is involved and no fusion of gametes will take place. That means you will see that there is no production or no fusion of gametes, no fertilization, and only one parent is involved in the process of reproduction. First, let's see budding. Budding is a type of asexual reproduction in which a bulge or a bud-like structure or a projection is developed on the body of the parent organism. This bud slowly starts developing its various features and ultimately gets separated from the parent and starts living an independent life. This process is called budding because they develops a bud-like structure in their body. Example, you can see hydra, yeast, corals shows reproduction through the process of budding. So let's try to understand with the help of these pictures. This is an organism called hydra. You have to remember, though it looks like a plant, hydra is actually a very tiny animal. So this is its main body and these are its tentacles, and in between the tentacles it has its mouth. So this is the parent hydra, and on its body a small bump starts to appear. This is called bud. This bud will start developing mouth, and slowly tentacles will also be developed around the mouth, and as it has developed mouth and tentacles, but it is still attached to the mother's body. Slowly the bud grows in size, and when it is capable of surviving on its own, the bird will get separated from the parent's body and start living on its own. Another example is in the case of yeast. Yeast is a type of fungi. So one matured yeast will start developing a bud-like structure. Here you can see this is a bud-like structure. Slowly it will grow in size, and the nucleus of the mother cell will get divided into two. One will stay with the mother cell, another will go to the daughter cell, and ultimately they will divide from each other and you will get one mother cell and one daughter cell. So this is how the process of budding takes place. Next, let's see fission. The meaning of fission is division. So in this method, the parent organism split into two or more daughter organisms. So fission can be of two types: binary fission and multiple fission. In binary fission, the animal reproduces by dividing into two individuals. The term binary stands for two. So in binary fission, the mother or the parent organism will divide into two daughter individuals. Some examples like amoeba, paramecium, iglina shows binary fission. Let's understand with the help of a diagram. So this is an amoeba. It has the nucleus inside it, cytoplasm also. So slowly what happens, like we have seen in the case of budding in yeast. First, this matured amoeba will grow in size and elongate, and the cytoplasm will start to get divided into two. Then the nucleus will also divide, and ultimately one nucleus will go each to the parent cell. From the parent cell, one nucleus each will go to both the daughter cells. In the case of yeast, first it starts developing a bud, then only division of nucleus take place. But in the case of binary fission, the entire mature organism itself divides into two almost similar structures, but they are not separated yet. The nucleus will divide into two and then only they will separate. So we say amoeba has two daughter cells as they are of same size, same structures. Next is multiple fission. Here the nucleus of the parent cell divides continuously or divides for several times and produce several nuclei. Nuclei is the plural term for nucleus. Then the cytoplasm separates, creating multiple daughter cells. Multiple fission can be seen in Plasmodium, algae, etc. So here you see, this is the parent cell and this is the nucleus. First, the parent cell will not divide. Here you can see the cytoplasm is also getting clustered into two, but here the cytoplasm and the parent cell remains as it is. Only the nucleus divides to produce several nuclei. This structure is now called a cyst. Then after the continuous or several division of the nuclei, the nucleus also have cytoplasm around it, and the parent cell divides into various cells. Then the cyst breaks and it releases the daughter cells. So in binary fission you will get two daughter cells at a time, whereas in multiple fission you will get several daughter cells at a time. Now let's see the story of Dolly, that is the clone. But before that, first we have to understand what is cloning. So cloning is the production of an exact copy of a cell, any other living parts, or a complete organism. That means if you will, through various processes, if a same organism is there, we can say it is a clone of you. But to be a clone, they have to be an exact copy, like even the genes of their body must be same. So a sheep named Dolly was born on 5th July and she was the first mammal to be cloned. You have to remember, a sheep named Dolly was the first mammal to be cloned, and this process was performed by Ian Wilmot and his colleagues at the Roslin Institute of Edinburgh in Scotland. Dolly was the first mammal to be cloned, and Dolly lived a normal life for 6.5 years, and she also produced several offsprings on her own through normal sexual means. That means she was like any other living organism. She died on 14 February 2003 due to a certain lung disease. So Dolly is a very special sheep. Why she is special? Because she is the first mammal to be cloned and she could live for about 6.5 years. After Dolly also, scientists have tried to clone various mammals, but they were unsuccessful. Most of the time the embryo could not become a young, viable or alive baby. That means it died inside the female's body, or even after birth, shortly after birth, many of the young ones died. So that is why Dolly is a very successful case, as she was able to live for about 6.5 years. Now let's see how the Dolly came into existence. So what did the scientists do to produce Dolly? They took two different varieties of sheep. One is Scottish Blackface, another one is Finn Dorset. So here they took the egg from the Scottish Blackface but removed the nucleus from it. They took the egg from Scottish Blackface but removed the nucleus, whereas they took one mammary cell. Mammary cell means a cell from the mammary gland. They took mammary gland, you can understand it is from the breast of the female. That is why it is called mammary cell. So they took one cell from the one mammary cell and took out the nucleus from it. Then this egg but without nucleus and this mammary cell are combined together using an electric shock, so that now the outer egg part is of Scottish blackface, but the nucleus is of fin dorset. So after it has combined, it has developed into embryo and slowly became blastocyst. This all took place outside the female's body, and when it divided and became a blastocyst, it was again placed inside the body of the Scottish blackface. So it is called surrogate. So Scottish blackface ewe, in this species, again egg was taken, but you have to remember, egg was taken but nucleus was removed. Nucleus is of fin dorset. This embryo or blastocyst was again implanted into Scottish blackface, and normal development of the embryo took place. After few weeks, this surrogate Scottish blackface ewe gave birth to a baby sheep, a lamb named Dolly. The blastocyst develops into a fetus, and in about 5 months a lamb is born called Dolly. But you will be shocked to know that even though the Scottish blackface gave birth to Dolly, she doesn't look anything like the mother who gave birth to it, but she resembles completely to fin dorset. Why it happens? Because you have to remember, we have discussed in the earlier chapters, the nucleus contains the genetic material, and genetic material like DNA or chromosome, and the genetic material contains each and every information how an organism to be, like how it will look, then how it will perform various processes, what color it will have, what type of hair texture it will have. Each and every information is inside the nucleus, and here we have taken nucleus from the fin dorset, not the Scottish blackface. That is why when the baby lamb was born, even though Scottish blackface sheep has given birth to it, Dolly looked like fin dorset, the mother who donated the nucleus. So this is how the lamb Dolly came into existence, and she was a complete clone to her mother fin dorset. I hope that you have understood this chapter, and for better understanding you can go through your textbook. It will give you a wide knowledge related to the chapter. You see all these topics and again go through your textbook, you will get a better understanding. Thank you.